Let's get back to that breaking news that we brought you at the top of the hour. We are learning new information about a house that exploded in Fairfax County in a neighborhood in Centerville. Our Alexis Wainwright just got on the scene. She joins us live with an update from the scene right now. Alexis, we understand that the response there is overwhelming considering the intensity of that explosion and the fire that came after it.
Yeah, Larry, that's exactly right. I can tell you that there are multiple agencies here on scene after what we have heard as reported as an explosion. Now, take a look here. We are on Quail Pond Court, and you can see several lights, flashing lights. You can also see ladders that are extended over what used to be a house here. Now, we can't see much from this vantage point because crews are keeping us far back at the moment for safety reasons, but you can see a little bit of that smoke coming from that area where neighbors have said that they heard an explosion. Now, fire crews tell us around 9:48 this afternoon is when they received multiple calls about people saying they heard a loud explosion and then they saw flames, a house fully engulfed in flames. So a lot happening here at the scene. We starting to see some more crews walking here up and down the street, but I can tell you multiple agencies here on scene, also seeing several neighbors coming out to check on each other. We also saw fire crews go to some of the neighboring homes here near where this explosion reportedly happened. So a lot still going on at this hour. We can tell you a lot of fire agencies, different ones throughout Virginia, are here right now at the moment. So we're working to find out much more information. No direct answer just yet on if there were anyone or any people inside of the home when that explosion happened, but I can tell you we are seeing kind of that alert here where people are just moving actively with a lot of questions still at the moment, but a lot of people still just trying to help each other out. We can still see, again, more crews coming back and forth here up and down the street. We saw Fairfax Fire. We also see Fairfax Police and other different agencies. And also want to talk about the weather that we're seeing right now that also makes it a little bit more complicated when it comes to fighting the fire as well. A lot of rain is coming down fast and quickly, so we can see kind of some urgency when it comes to crews walking up and down and trying to communicate with each other. But we can tell you a lot of people here kind of just in shock at the moment, trying to talk with each other and make sure other neighbors are okay. We're still here on scene trying to work to get much more information. But again, what we know right now is that fire crews tell us they initially responded to several calls that were made about them hearing a loud explosion, and then they saw a house fully engulfed in flames. We've also seen a picture on Twitter kind of showing those flames and how big it was at the moment when that call first came and when crews first got here. But again, you can tell that they're actively working to try to get this thing under control here. So again, seeing crews kind of come together with other different agencies here at the moment. But what we know right now is, again, that they're working to get this under control. We're still waiting to hear more about any victims, any people who were possibly in the home at the time of that explosion. But what we know right now is that crews are out here actively working, Larry.
Alexis, to your point, it is an active scene as that report came at around 9:48 this evening, again from Fairfax County Fire and Rescue. Alexis, based on what you have seen and you have described for us the sort of overwhelming response of fire and rescue that's out there, given the initial reports of an explosion, there is an assumption that the gas company would likely be out there as well. Have you seen any sort of gas representatives, any crews that suggest that they are looking at this situation as a possible gas explosion at this time?
Well, Larry, we haven't seen any of those companies at the moment, but also this is such a large scene that they might be on the opposite side of where we are. Something that we noticed and also heard from crews is they're asking people to avoid this area because there are so many street closures throughout this neighborhood. So it might be the case that they are here on scene, but we just can't see them at this moment. Another thing we have also noticed is that a lot of neighbors and people who are coming over are walking on foot because of how big the response is and because you're not able to really get around if you're not on foot. So that's one thing we can tell you at this moment. We're on one side, but there might be another vantage point on the other side of where we're standing. But also the fire trucks are also very much taking up a lot of space where we're standing at the moment as well. So we're kind of off to the side of a road. So that's also another thing you have to take into account, is just how much room and space that these crews need. So it's taking up a big area throughout this neighborhood at this moment. But again, we can tell you we are seeing fire crews kind of door knocking and going to some of these nearby homes and having some conversations with some neighbors and maybe possibly some of those people who made that call initially when they first heard that loud explosion. But right now, I can again tell you that we're seeing majority of them continue to walk closer to where we're seeing a lot of that smoke at the moment, where that house was and where that initial call came in at the moment.
Alexis, you talked about fire and rescue going door to door, conducting interviews. Do we know whether or not fire and rescue are asking any of those homeowners that may live close to the scene to evacuate, given what we've seen take place at this house, again on Quail Pond Court?
Well, Larry, it's not clear just yet at this moment. We just arrived, as you guys kind of mentioned. We were on our way as soon as we received word about this explosion and this house fire here. So we haven't been able to talk with neighbors just yet, but we noticed a lot of them moving around this neighborhood up and down these different streets. And we've noticed kind of firefighters going up to these doors, knocking on them, right? And kind of having a conversation slowly as they move around this neighborhood. Another thing I also wanted to talk about is multiple ambulances we have seen. There's one here behind me at the moment that I'm looking at, where it looks like they may have loaded someone into that ambulance and they're kind of starting to pull off away from here. But again, no clear direct message right now as if there are any injuries or who exactly may have been in the home at this hour. Now we're also noticing kind of the crews backing us up a little bit because they're going to start putting some yellow tape up here at the moment, which is clear that they're going to need a lot more space to kind of continue the work that they're doing right now because it is such an active scene. But again, a lot of movement happening here at the moment. We can tell you that neighbors still walking closer to kind of check on each other and have conversations, but also get a closer look at what's happening here. But you can see the active scene here as they continue to put more yellow tape up and kind of move us back a little bit from where we could get a better vantage point of the scene.
Alexis, thank you. And let's take a moment to reset based on the information that we've gotten from Alexis. Fairfax County Fire and Rescue responding to what has been described, at least by some, to be an explosion in a house fire that took place in Fairfax County, specifically in the city of Centerville. That these calls came in at around 9:48 this evening, where they received multiple calls of a house explosion and a fire. As we heard from our Alexis Wainwright, crews now with fire and rescue there with Fairfax County are going door to door to talk to some of those neighbors. If we can pull up that picture that they posted on Twitter, that will give you an indication, thank you, Will, of what fire and rescue, Fairfax County Fire and Rescue, were certainly having to respond to. A massive fire with that home completely engulfed in flames. The scene on the ground now looks considerably different, but as we've heard from Alexis, and as she just showed us in her shot there, Fairfax County Fire and Rescue expanding the scene, expanding the perimeter where that fire and explosion reportedly took place, potentially as both a safety issue, but also as a part of their investigation as well, giving them plenty of space and room to conduct a thorough investigation to determine what exactly triggered the explosion and the fire that we saw take place at that home on Quail Pond Court in the 14,300 block of Quail Pond Court. Our Alexis Wainwright is going to be working on getting us additional information. Stay with us. Our coverage continues after this.